This is Up for Debate, episode number 226, recorded February 9th, 2022. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this super edition of Up for Debate, the debate podcast where the two agree on everything. I'm Sean Jennings, joined as always by a man who's so thirsty. It's Matt Mariani. Hello, Matt.
Sorry, I'm just shotgunning my water.
Literally, outside of it, if you had just flipped it upside down, it would have been like a hamster just going nuts. I mean, you were just going wild. The second I hit the record button,
hydrated for the big game.
You waited right until we started.
Mm-hmm. All of a sudden, I was overcome with just an urge. I just had the urge. Just down a bunch of water. Shotgun water, so...
Well, speaking of shotgunning things, Matt, it is our annual Super Bowl prop bets episode, one of our big to-dos of the year. This is year number 7, if you can believe it, that we've covered a Super Bowl. For those who aren't initiated, we pick a series of 11 bets that we make with one another about things surrounding the Super Bowl, and we're going to see who can get the most points and win. Are you excited?
As always, this is I think I've said this before on the show. This is one of my favorite things that we do, and I genuinely mean that. I think we have some really cool staples and traditions that we've developed over the years of recording, and this is one of my favorite things. So I'm very excited for the Super Bowl. Always excited for the Super Bowl.
Does that have anything to do with your track record in this event?
The track record, that actually makes me more nervous than excited because as far as I can tell, I have beaten you, Sean, in every matchup we've had. And I have also successfully picked the winning team in every matchup we've had, with the exception of one year we both picked, I think, the same team.
But that counts. So you've been right every time. Now, I will say for the record, I did beat you one year. You are not undefeated. I beat you in 2018. So,
right. Yes, you did. Overall, you did, but I still picked the Eagles to win.
Have I only won 1 out of 6? That is correct. You have the overwhelming count. And I will say I'm the only person to ever get the score exactly right, for whatever that's worth.
And that was in which year?
The 2017.
That was in...
I believe that was the Super Bowl comeback. The Atlanta comeback, right? Was in 2017.
This says you were close. It said this one's according to your sheet. It says your guess was 35-29.
But we gave it to me.
The final was 34-28. So you were a point off.
There's a plus or minus
That's
point.
Really very
There's a plus or minus point because it's very hard to get right. Anyway, let me just have it. Have it.
I'll let you have it, Sean.
You're so good at this, Matt. And every year I'm a total bonehead about it. In how I make my picks, I always I'm going to pick the crazier thing. I'm going to pick the thing that's not going to happen, and then I just totally do my.
It's that you like to risk it. You risk it for the biscuit.
And last year was one of my.
It's a valid strategy.
Last year was one of my worst losses ever. A total disaster. The other thing you beat me on a lot is, and we'll get to our halftime predictions, our halftime score predictions, but. I've never beaten you at that, and there's definitely some points there to be won.
Well, this year, with as many acts as there are,
it's going to be wild.
It could be tricky.
Matt, before we get into the bets, let's talk a little bit about Super Bowl 56, LVI, happening in Los Angeles, California, between your Los Angeles Rams and your Cincinnati Bengals. Matt, what are you feeling about the Super Bowl this year?
Sean, I'm really hyped for this Super Bowl.
You're hyped?
It's for real. This is an incredible outcome that I don't think anybody had. And if they tell you that they had this outcome, especially in the beginning of the season, then they're a damn liar, because there's no way that anybody could have seen Bengals and Rams. Maybe the Rams.
Yeah, I think people felt good about the Rams.
Coming out of nowhere?
Bengals, yeah.
Come on. Nobody had that. There was nobody. It was not even on the radar. And if they tell you they had it, then they are absolutely lying to you. In the past couple of matchups, really, when could you have said that a team like this would come out of nowhere? Maybe the Eagles, 2018?
Yeah, that was kind of an oddball one.
that's really the only one of all these other teams are like, you could have predicted. You could have predicted Chiefs, maybe Chiefs, like Chiefs Bucks, especially with when Brady went there. You could have predicted Patriots and anybody that they ever played in, except for the Eagles. Yeah, like this is all, it's all stuff that you could have seen coming, but nobody saw the Bengals. They come out of nowhere and they're in the Super Bowl, and I'm very excited for this. I think this guy, I think both of the quarterbacks are very exciting, very talented. Both of the teams, I think, are pretty evenly balanced, evenly matched. But I do think that one has an advantage over the other, and we'll talk about that on the show. How are you feeling about this Super Bowl?
You know,
Do you think the fix was in with it being in LA?
no, I had picked the Rams at the end of last year as a great opportunity to make it. As soon as they signed Matt Stafford, I mean, they had their defense was still really, I mean, they were in the Super Bowl, 2 years ago, when the Patriots beat them, so they were a good team. Just Jared Goff was not very good. So as soon as they signed Matt Stafford, whoosh, they were right to the top. So that doesn't surprise me. The Bengals, for sure. I think people felt the Bengals were going to be good next year, right? Like, this is the year you kind of flirt with the playoffs a little bit, and you say, hey, look, we had a winning season, good job. Joe Burrow's coming off of a busted leg. We'll see how it goes. I agree with you. I don't think anyone predicted a Super Bowl run for this team, and they beat some very good teams along the way, if you think about it. The Titans, the Chiefs, all very good teams. It was a tough AFC this year, no doubt about it. So I think it's going to be a great... let me put it this way. I think these are two great teams, which means it's going to be a very boring Super Bowl, is my fear. It's going to be Patriots-Rams all over again, two high-powered teams who just slog it out because the defenses play well. I feel confident in my winner when I go to pick them, but I do think what's nice is both teams give you something to root for, because the Rams is very, like, in NBA terms, kind of a super team, right? They kind of went and free agented all the really good guys together. And it's a lot of big name players. And in the Bengals, you have a very clear underdog. A lot of rookies, a lot of guys who weren't famous before this year until they had a big year. So I think no matter how you slice it, I think it's a great story and should be a good game.
All right. Well, shall we venture into prop bet territory?
I think that would be fine, Matt. Let's dig in for Super Bowl 56. I have my tracking chart here with some notes in it for us, but we've got to begin with one of our most noted bets, one of our most famous bets we've done, and it's a 50-50 bet. It is the coin toss. Now, Matt, historically, you've won this. I've only ever won this once. You've won it many more times, but it has flipped between heads and tails pretty evenly. Last year was heads, which you won, and by tradition, I give you pick. Maybe that's why I keep losing. But, Matt, do you have a lean one way or the other on heads or tails?
Let's see. Last year I went with heads, and it was
Yes.
heads. And I think that the Buffalo Bills went with tails, and it was heads. I can't remember. But anyway, I think I'm gonna go with tails.
Well,
this
that
time.
was your policy for many years, was you always pick tails. It was only last year was the first time you picked heads.
That's right, and because I always would say tails never
Right.
fails. And I'm gonna go with like I said before, Sean. I'm gonna go with heads.
Are you sure? Once it goes in the
lock
sheet,
in
you
on
can't
head.
change it.
Heads, it is.
Heads sometimes fails. Okay, heads it is. It's locked in the sheet. That means I have tails. And that's a nice, easy point for someone to win towards our grand total. Now, Matt, I know you're always excited for the national anthem. We bet on the length of time it takes for the person to sing the anthem from the first note to finishing the last note. And Matt, I know you love this singer. One of your favorite. Why don't you sing? Well, let me tell the folks at home. Obviously, you know who this is, but for the folks at home, it's country singer Mickey Guyton will be singing the national anthem. Matt, which of Mickey's songs is your favorite? Google's Mickey Guyton.
I lift hay in my tractor.
Okay, Matt, I'm going to be honest, it surprised me. Would it surprise you to learn that Mickey Guyton is a woman? Okay.
Yes, that would surprise me. I know nothing about Mickey Guyton.
Let's see. Some of her big singles include "Better Than You Left Me," "The Heartbreak Song." Yeah, I have never heard any of these and don't know what they are.
Nope.
But
nope. What happened? You know, in the championship games, we had Asante, right? Asante.
Yeah. And then,
Ashante.
Well, no, but it was funny because one was Asante and one was Shantae.
Yes,
they were very similar.
Like
I thought they were like battling or something.
No. One of them was. I thought one of them.
Oh,
was
you're
Brandy.
right. It was Brandy and Ashanti.
Brandy, I thought it was Ashante.
Maybe. I don't remember.
No, Ashanti, and
yes.
Brandy. Yes.
And now we have Mickey Guyton.
So two early 2000s stars belting out the anthem. I thought that was cool because I remembered both of them loosely. I think like one song of theirs from the early 2000s.
Yeah, Brandy had a little bit of a run, certainly.
Yeah.
Now, on the national anthem, Matt, for many years we just picked the over-under, which this year is set at 1 minute and 40 seconds, which is a little short, actually. Last year was 2 minutes, the year before 1:50. But last year, for the very first time, we each picked a specific time, and it was who got closest, which I think is a little more fun. You went first on the last one, so if it's all right with you, I'm going to go first on this one. I have done absolutely no research on Mickey Guyton, have not listened to her sing a national anthem, but because the over-under is set low, I think she's going to sing it fast. That's the expectation. I'm going to go under, and I'm going to take it at 1 minute and 35 seconds.
Okay. 140. Yeah, I'll take the over. I'll take the over, and I will lock mine in at 1 minute and 43 seconds.
Okay. Very good. Pretty similar. Pretty
Sure.
close.
I'm thinking just because it's a country singer, I don't know. That really means nothing, but whatever. I want to take the over because you took the
Well,
under.
if we're going to do that, then I think that'll be a nice clear line. So 140 is what you're going to want to watch, and then we'll see who can get closer. That's great. Again, another nice easy win for somebody,
Cool.
depending on Miss Mickey. Now, Matt, we got next up is a new bet. We haven't done this one before. We try and bring in some new ones every year. And by the way, all of these, for the record, are things you can actually bet on, which I thought, Matt, I'm not joking, sports betting is now legal in many states, including, I believe, your own state of New Jersey. I was going to proposition you that we put actual money down on these.
I thought about it. I was all ready to do it, and I was going to come in and be like, Sean, I already locked in all these bets.
Well,
and I thought it would be fun if I made the opposite bets on some of the like more binary ones, where it's like yes, no. If I made the opposite bet and put money on them, because then you win either way.
Well,
you also lose either way.
The problem with Super Bowl, and I've actually followed a blog. This is, I think, he said his 11th year doing it. He does this every year, but he actually bets on them, like real money. And I've learned from him that the odds on these things are so bad. What usually ends up happening is you bet like $11 to win $11.12, or you bet $11 and even if you win, you actually lose money. Like the odds are so skewed that these are made for fun and not to profit off of. Sometimes they are, but for the most part, like I don't think he's ever profited any year he's ever done it. So even getting half or more of them correct. So maybe next year we'll each pick like one bet we put money down based on the odds where we might actually make something. We'll have to see. Like the coin toss is literally dead even money. You don't make anything. So, but Matt, we have a new one this year. First, penalty of the game. What is the type of penalty that is first called at this Super Bowl? Now, it could be anything from a false start, It could be offensive pass interference, defensive pass interference, delay of game, roughing the passer. I mean, the list of NFL penalties, I'm sure, is large, but not all of them are that common.
I like this bet. I actually did a little bit of thinking and strategizing on this one. Do you want me to go with to tell you my pick?
Yes. Oh my God, of course.
So I was really kind of torn between two, and I'll tell you the other one after we do your pick. But I think that the first penalty called is going to be a false start.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. It's going to be a false start penalty.
And why is that?
/ illegal. What is it called? What is the referee term for false start?
Well, if it matters if it's defensive or offensive. If it's defensive, it is a neutral zone infraction.
Neutral zone infraction.
And if it's offensive, it is a false start.
Neutral zone infraction is I know, but there's another name. There's another name. Illegal procedure. Illegal procedure. There's I think that's similar to a false start, right? Yeah. So, that's my pick. The reason I went with it is I think that it's a common one to call for young teams. Sometimes they especially young teams that have not been on the big stage yet, right? Right, Matt Stafford. The Rams have been in it, but not necessarily Stafford in that role. It's big Super Bowl. People are nervous. People jump, and so I was torn kind of between the illegal procedure or the offside / encroachment ruling. But I think it's going to be false starts tend to be more common. It's usually the offense that blinks first. So I'll go with that. My second pick, which I'll say now, my backup one was going to. Yeah, it was probably going to be pass interference because these are both very pass heavy, just pass heavy offenses in general. But I feel like the defenses. These defenses are not going to commit a lot of PIs because they're in the Super Bowl, and I think that they're going to play it a little bit safer. They're both going to go with kind of a prevent or zone kind of defense where you're less likely to draw a PI. So, what did you go with?
Matt, my initial thought was to pick something stupid and exotic like illegal forward pass or illegal wedge, things that don't really happen. But I'm so desperate to win, I did what any normal person would do and Googled most common penalties in the U.S. Would you like to know the top 5 most common penalties in football?
Probably holding's got to be up there. That was another big choice.
Here we go. Number 5, unnecessary roughness. Number 4, defensive holding. Number 3, defensive pass interference. Number 2, false start. And what I'm picking, number 1, offensive holding. A boring penalty, but one they call a lot.
Well, the garbage thing about holding, and I've heard this said by pros and fans alike, is that referee, and I've also heard it by officials too, by the way, but referees can basically call holding on any play. It's just whenever they choose to acknowledge it that it's happening. It's one of those kind of BS things where holding as a whole penalty is dumb because how are you supposed to be if you're a lineman, how are you supposed to block if you can't hold the other person?
Yeah, well, but pass interference is like that too, where it's kind of an opinion call.
Pass interference, I think, is a little more clean cut though, because in order to commit pass interference, you are clearly interfering with the receiver's ability to catch a ball. With holding, what is the difference between a hold and a clean block? It's both of those things can look exactly the same.
No, not really. I mean, holding, the second you do this and close your hand on something and literally hold, As long as you push and you don't do this. Like, it's
Yeah,
not that... Like, again, does it happen so much? It's kind of a silly rule, because if you called it every time, I agree. But pass interference, I feel like we see way more controversial pass interference calls than we do holding calls.
I don't know if that's true. I think we see the same. But I think that the pass interference ones get more attention.
Because they're more valuable.
Because they're usually more critical.
Right.
Because at a pass interference, you get the ball at the place of the foul. So they can be a lot more impactful. Holding is just a 10-yard penalty. So, I'm surprised though that face masking was not on that list.
I think it used to be. I don't think it's as much anymore. I thought, there was one in here that I thought was a little more roughing the passer. I thought, especially with all the rules where you can't touch the passers, was going to be a little more common.
Well, that's going to go down now that Tom Brady's retired.
Now the guys can really get their butt kicked.
Roughing the Brady is that was
no my favorite Brady Bunch spinoff.
Roughing the
Bradys. Yeah, or even like delay of game, or just so many good penalties.
Yeah, no, these were good choices.
Yeah, we'll have to see. Now, Matt, it is the time for us to get into the halftime show. The halftime show, which I know we're very excited about. We famously did an episode all about some of the weirdest and wackiest Super Bowl halftimes in history. And we're going to be talking about this year, the Pepsi presents the Super Bowl halftime show. And we're going to have a whopping 5 scheduled performers, if you can believe it. An all Los Angeles cast: Dr. Dre, a.k.a. Andre Young, Snoop Dogg, a.k.a. Calvin Broadus Jr., Eminem, a.k.a. Marshall Mathers III, Kendrick Lamar, a.k.a. Kendrick Lamar Duckworth, and Mary J. Blige. That's just her name.
Yeah, that's I was surprised that that was her actual name.
It's Mary Jane
Blige, I thought that was
but yes.
Yeah. Did not know that was. I thought that was a stage name. Obviously, it sound. You don't
think Dr. Dre's a real doctor?
Snoop. No, I thought Snoop Dogg was just his name, but Dr. Dre. What did he get his doctorate in?
It says right here, fucking the police. That's what the article said. Matt, are you excited for the Super Bowl halftime?
Yeah, I actually am. I think this is going to be a fun halftime show. It's going to be very, very indicative of the flavor of LA, where the Super Bowl is this year. I think it's going to be. I think it'll be a fun time. I think that all of these performers are going to have fun performing together because they're all friends, and that's friendship is magic. I think it's not going to be as awkward or forced as when Coldplay did the Super Bowl with Bruno Mars and Beyonce, which was very strange. It looked like watching 3 different mini performances at halftime, especially since Coldplay was the only one that was, like, I think, advertised in that year. And I'm still bitter about that. They didn't give Coldplay enough time. They didn't give them their fair shake, I thought. But at least these performers, right, Sean, they're all friends. They're all buddies. I think that they'll have a lot of fun performing together.
Yeah, they're all West Coast rappers. They all sort of come from the same labels and the same groups, if you will. I think... I disagree with you a little bit. I do hope, though, one thing I did like about the Beyonce and Bruno Mars thing was the fact that they interplayed off one another in sort of a fun way. That doesn't usually, if there's multiple performers in a halftime, it's like, and now this person, and they perform and then they leave, and now this person, and they like. I hope that they use this opportunity to get all 5 of them mixing and matching on different songs, going around doing stuff together. I think if you're going to have 5 different individual performers, let them be creative and do things with each other. That is what excites me about just the format and the types of artists they're having is very unusual for the Super Bowl. I don't think they've done like 5 artists total before, but they've never done 5 individual people, which I think could do some interesting stuff. So I am excited for that.
Mm-hmm. Now, how are we doing these picks for?
Well, first up, we have a bet. This is a real bet. The first artist to sing during the halftime show. Now, you got 5 to choose from, so normally we wouldn't do this bet because there'd only be 1 or 2 singers, but with 5, hell, you could do a lot worse. So, what do you, Matt? Do you have a prediction for this one, for the first artist to sing during halftime?
Well, I think I went first the last time,
turn?
didn't I?
All
yeah,
right.
I believe it is your turn.
That is a good one. I've thought about this. I have, and we'll talk about this when we get into what songs are going to be played. But I think you go with the oldest and the most established. And I think it's Dr. Dre. I think Dr. Dre opens the show. I do have a strong second choice if it's not him. But I think that he is such the, to borrow a phrase, the OG, if you will. God, I'm like the whitest guy ever. I think Dr. Dre is going to be first. What do you think, Matt?
I think that I think it's a very valid strategy, right? Dr. Dre is the kind of the senior of this whole group. But I think I'm going to go with my gut here. And I'm going to say that it's going to be Kendrick Lamar.
Okay, the opposite direction.
I think that they're gonna kind of save everybody else for later. Like kind of because it's kind of like the opposite of your pick, right? It's like going back in time. I think they're gonna put Kendrick is the most contemporary artist of the group, so I think they're gonna put him out there first, and it'll be kind of a good a good way to bring in like the new fans, and then you hit them with the throwbacks. You hit them with the Mary J. Blige, you hit them with the Snoop, and you hit them with the Dre and Eminem. I think Dre and Eminem are going to come out together, and I think they're gonna perform. Well, I think they'll all perform together, but I think they're going to come out at the same time.
Well, Matt, let's talk about what they're going to be singing. It's a tradition for us. We do what we call the halftime set list, and as part of that, we each pick 3 songs that we believe are going to be played during the halftime. We go back and forth, draft our songs, if you will. I went first on the last one, so you son of a bitch, you're going to get the first pick here.
So are we still getting 3 because there are 4 artists, or there are actually 5 artists? Should we do should we do one per artist?
Oh, I mean, how many songs can you get through in a halftime though?
This is true. True. Or should we just keep it simple?
Let's take it to 4. 4 each.
4. Okay, I agree. I'm in agreement. We'll try to do 4. Okay. I agree. I think that's fair. But Sean, you done goofed. You messed up. You let me have the first pick.
I do it every year.
Sean, I'm taking it. I'm taking the most obvious choice on this list. If they don't do this song, something has gone horribly wrong with the timeline. Lose Yourself by Eminem is definitely gonna be one of the songs. Has to be. Has to be.
It's a great one.
Sean, if it is not, I will eat a whole bag of Flamin' Doritos.
Okay, all right. Should I note that in the spreadsheet?
Put it in there. A whole bag. Flamin' hot Doritos.
Holy smokes. Okay. Well, that's a good pick. It's a good pick. It was Eminem's biggest song, so I don't think it's surprising that he would perform it.
And I feel like it's just so centrally connected to sports in general. Yep. Palms are sweaty, mom's spaghetti. It's all there.
That's right. He's all of those things. Well, Matt, you done gone fucked up. Because you didn't pick the song that there is a 100% chance they're going to do. Now you got to remember, this is a an ode to West Coast rap is what I think it's going to be. And obviously, it's in Los Angeles. And so one of Dr. Dre's biggest songs, he wasn't primarily listed on it, but he was part of the track through his Death Row Records. Maybe they'll bring back the hologram, maybe they won't. But Tupac's California Love is a slam dunk, grand slam of a song to be performed. And if they don't perform it, I will eat an entire bag of Flaming Hot, whatever you said you were going to eat.
Flaming Hot Doritos.
That's right. That's my bonus bet there.
All right. That's a good pick. It is a good pick. And you got Snoop right there. But Sean, there's another song that I think has some almost certain odds that they will perform. You're right. You're correct. It is a West Coast centric performance, and one of the most West Coast songs. Ain't Nothing But a G
wanted
Thing.
That one.
Ain't Nothing But a G Thing by Dr. Dre. And I
Snoop
believe
Dogg.
that is a collab.
Yes.
Is
it
it not?
With Snoop.
With Snoop, who will in fact be there on that stage. So
I wanted that.
Just
one.
saying.
I wanted that one.
California Love was a Tupac and Snoop. But Tupac, as far as we know, I mean, he could make an appearance. Right? There's that whole hoax that he's actually a hologram.
Mm.
And I think there were hologram sightings of him in Bahrain or something. But I don't think he'll be on that stage. So I'm locking that in.
It's a good call. It's a good call. Matt, I feel good about my next one. It was a song partially written by Dr. Dre, and it was this person's number one, I believe their only song to ever hit number one on the charts as a solo artist. And she's got to do her biggest hit. She's got to do her biggest hit. Mary J. Blige, Family Affair. That is my song number 2 right there.
That's a good lock. That's a good lock for Mary J.
Lock it in.
Okay. Okay. I think it's time to. We did an Eminem. We did a Dr. Dre. We got to get another Snoop in there. We got to drop it like it's hot.
Oh, that's
Sean.
a great one.
Drop it like it's hot. Now, my strategy with that one, and I'm surprised that I'm able to take it this late in the game, but my strategy with that one is that it's a very easy song to censor because it was on Rock Band, and the censored version was on Rock Band, and so I think they're going to be able to clean it up. I still don't know, like, are they going to censor the lyrics, like change them to be like their parents friendly, family friendly versions of them of the songs, or are they just going to bleep out all the expletives? In which case, you know, we're going to be hearing some strange clipping rendition of the song. But I digress. Drop that in like it is hot, like it's a big bowl of flaming Doritos.
So goddamn hot.
That's a different song. It's hot in here.
It's hot in
Nelly.
her.
Hot in her.
That was a good pick, Matt. For my next one, I am. Boy, now we're getting down to the real nitty gritty. I think. What am I gonna do? Because I know what I want my 4th song to be, and I don't think you're going to take it, so I got to take something that's a little more interesting. Oh, I didn't know Eminem did a song with Dr. Dre. This is going to be so. One thing for people to know is when we do this, when we do these bets, I have to watch the Super Bowl and like score them, And so when they're doing the halftime show, like, I have to know what songs they're singing so I can say, oh yeah, they sung that song. And this is going to be a real problem this year. This is not really my demographic. All right, I am going to pick another. I don't want to do another Snoop Dogg Dr. Dre song though. All right, I'm going to pick our first Kendrick Lamar song, and I'm going to go with his biggest hit, his only song to reach #1 on the U.S. Top 100 chart. Off of his that he did solo, off of his 2017 album, Humble is going to be my pick. He's got to do one of his songs, right?
You got my pick. That was actually going to be my fourth pick. I was hoping that you were going to go with Kendrick Lamar's other very likely song, which I might take. I'm not sure. I'm not locking it in yet, but his other very popular song, DNA. But I haven't locked it in yet. I think it's a very strong chance. I haven't picked a Mary J. Blige.
Yeah.
Although Family Affair is probably going to be the one. She'll probably get another one. I'm just not sure what it's going to be. I think I'm going to go with another. I think I'm going to go with another Eminem. I think I'm going to go with My Name Is.
I'm sorry? My Name Is what?
My Name Is Slim Shady.
The real Slim Shady?
Not the real, the different song. Although that would have been a good pick too. I was actually kind of between those two, but I think that the real Slim Shady has too many. There's so many like late '90s references.
It's the same with Without Me
in that song that I think they won't play really in a. I mean, they'll play to our generation, but I think My Name Is a good song. It's just it's fun. People are going to sing along to it better. You can't really sing along to too much of Real Slim Shady. I mean, you can, but if you know the words, I would go ahead and I think it's also easier to censor. The No Fun League is going to like it better. So I think My Name Is.
Interesting. I am not going to take another Eminem song, but if I did, I think Love the Way You Lie with Mary J. Blige is a possibility. Because he does that song with Rihanna originally. And I could see a Love the Way You Lie with Mary J. Blige because that was one of his other really big hits. But who knows? Okay. For my final song, I am going to, Matt, you're familiar with the fantasy football term of stacking? Where you take a quarterback, you may take his receiver, so you get points when both of them score. I
cringed a little bit. I cringed when you said fantasy football, Sean, because I don't know if you know this, but the past 2 seasons, my centerpiece and first pick has been Alvin Kamara, and he basically assassinated his whole career over the weekend. And the biggest tragedy of it all, Sean, and I won't get too into the weeds with my fantasy team, but the biggest tragedy of it all is not that he brought me a championship two years ago, basically single-handedly with his Christmas game against the Vikings. The biggest tragedy is that I can't name my team Space Cam 2 next year.
Space Cam, a new legacy?
This year I was Space Cam, and next year was going to be Space Cam 2. And now that is not going to happen. So R.I.P. to a real one.
I'll say 2 things about that, Matt. One is to base your entire fantasy football team around Alvin Kamara is an insane prospect. And number 2, it's the NFL, Matt. I mean, it took Aaron Hernandez had to murder a couple people to get kicked out of the league. He's going to be back. Don't count him out just yet. I think my stack here is going to be another. I already took California Love. You took Nothing But a G Thing. I'm going to take one more Dr. Dre Snoop Dogg collab. Not as popular as those, but if for some reason they don't do California Love, this is my backup. And I'm going to go with The Next Episode, which was a pretty big song for them. But but considering it includes both of them, I don't think it's too bad of a pick. All right, that is 4 songs apiece for the set list. Big points to be won or lost there, so we will have to see. All right, let's continue on to our next bet here, Matt. Rarely we've done it. I think we only did it one other time. I'm going to try and look it up. Would be a cross-sport bet, which is you can do many this year. You can do them based on how the Masters does. There's actually one where it's whatever the highest speed is in the Daytona 500 in miles per hour, which will be bigger, that or Cooper Kupp receiving yards in the first half. It's wild. And so we previously did one for the Super Bowl in 2018 where we did which would be higher, Brady completions or Kevin Durant points at a game. Kevin Durant won that one. And we're doing one this year, Matt, which will be higher, the total points scored in the first half of the game or the total number of goals scored in the 4 NHL games happening Sunday morning. Okay? Now, those 4 games, for the record, they're all over by, before kickoff. So we'll know before kickoff what we're comparing it to. But it is the Senators, Capitals, Sabres, Canadiens, Penguins, and your New Jersey Devils, and the Avalanche and the Stars. 4 games, 8 teams, more goals between all of them, or points in the first half. What do you think, Matt?
This is, you know what? I would normally say, you got some matchups here. Now, I don't know a whole lot about hockey per se. I do enjoy my Devils, but I think that you got Caps, Senators, Caps. This, as far as I know, the Senators suck, and the Caps are really good. So I feel like that's going to maybe be a one-sided game. I think in that game alone, you might actually get more. So I'm going to say that the total NHL goals is going to be higher. I think that Sabres, all of these really have the potential to be high-scoring, kind of upset games. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna give it to the NHL. I think that the first half is both of these teams start out pretty slow out of the gate. I don't think there's going to be they're going to light up the second half more than the first.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go ahead and say NHL.
Your logic is very sound, Matt. I did Google average goals per game in the NHL. It's right about 6. Multiply that times 4, that's 24. Now, obviously, it could be more, it could be less. But if you use the metric of 24, will they score 24 points in the first half? That's kind of a lot. And historically, Super Bowls are very low scoring to start. And so I know it's not going to be fun for us if we pick the same one, but I also want to win and don't want to give you a free point. So I'm taking the NHL as well, but I am curious to see, do you want to... I'm trying to see how we can make this more interesting. Do you want to try and predict how many goals there will be in those 4 games?
Not really.
Okay, all right. You can...
Just because I don't know it, I don't really know super enough about them. Well, do you want to?
Nope.
Do you want to see? Do you want to predict? Will there be more passing touchdowns than rushing touchdowns, or will there be more?
There was one that you wanted to do. What was the other bet you wanted to do?
Oh, who's going to score first?
Yeah, you want to do that?
Right, player that'll score first. Sure.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
You did the NHL first, so I will take this one if that's all right.
Yeah, go ahead.
Let's see. Do you know technically the Rams are the visiting team for the Super Bowl?
Yes, I think that's
very
hilarious.
odd fact.
Yeah.
Boy, who was the first player to score? All right, 2 teams who like to air it out. Probably not going to be a running back. I am going to say... Odell Beckham Jr. That's my guess. And I have a second choice, but I want to hear yours first. Who do you think's going to score first?
That is a pretty sound choice, OBJ. I think it's going to be T. Higgins. High T Higgins.
I'm sorry, what?
High T Higgins. High T Higgins. Lock him in. I had him on fantasy last year. He's very good.
Higgins. All right, interesting choice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
My second was going to be Chase. But I think you're right. He's going to be double and triple covered like crazy. So Higgins is not a bad choice at all. All right, Matt. Our next one here is total punts per game. Total punts in the game. A real number you can bet at. The over/under is 6.5. We're going to have to pick the exact number now, Matt. I will, so we all have the same knowledge. In 2021, the team that averaged the highest number of punts per game averaged 5.2 per game. And the team with the lowest number of punts, do you want to guess what team that is? It will not surprise you.
The lowest? Was it the Bucks?
No, it's not the Bucks. It's a team. Put it this way, it's a team that scores a lot and does not need punts.
Was it your former team, the New England Patriots?
Nope, they were 28th. The Rams were 29th. Buffalo was 30th.
A team that scores. What is it like the? Was it the Chiefs?
It was the Chiefs. It was the Chiefs. Only 2.5 per game on average.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But obviously the NFL or the Super Bowl is known for low scoring, lots of opportunity for punts and stalled drives. Matt, you go first on this one. Over under at 6.5. How many punts do you think there will be in this game?
I think there will be. I think I'm going to go ahead and take the under.
Okay.
I think there's going to be an under. But I think it's going to be very close to that figure, 6.5. I'm going to say 5.
Okay.
5 punts. Yeah.
All right. I think that's a great guess. I think it's so great that I'm going to take the under as well, but I'm going to go with 6. And think that there's one more, but I think it could even go higher than 6. I just think it's one of those Super Bowl things that it takes them a while. We talked about this. It takes them a while to get going. Stalled drives, different atmosphere. It wouldn't surprise me, but that will be an interesting one. Next up here, Matt, this is one of our old favorites. We've done this one every year, and I'm the only one to ever get it right. I always get the wacky ones. It is the color of the Gatorade dropped on the winning coach. Now, historically, we've seen a mix of colors, blue being the most common. We've seen orange. We've seen green. I go first on this one. Now, obviously, one thing we always pay attention to is the team colors, right? If the Bengals win, do they dump orange? If the Rams win, do they dump blue or yellow? I think blue is such a common color, just statistically, and one of the team's colors is blue. I thought about orange. I still think orange would be a good guess, or yellow, but I am going to take blue. I'm going to play it safe and go with the kind of obvious choice. I don't know, Matt. What are you thinking?
Sean, you fool.
What?
I am taking orange. I planned this out. Orange, lock that in for me. It is going to be orange. Come on. One of the teams is one of the only orange teams.
But what if they don't win?
Besides the Bengals and the Browns, if they don't win, then they don't win. But I'm gonna go ahead and say orange.
All I know is
if they don't win, orange still looks cool on blue.
But all I know is like the last. I'm making this up, but it's close. The last 5 out of 7 Super Bowls, it was blue. So just saying, maybe the players just like the taste of blue.
I actually have a. Would you like to know? I was reading this before the show started. The numbers. I actually,
Because I know
you can't see
Vegas
that 'cause of
Vegas
the
does
glare,
have a
but-
good line on orange. I will say they think it's likely.
Would you like to know? Yeah. So the last time orange was used in a Super Bowl was 2020 when the Chiefs won against the 49ers. Last year was blue,
Yep.
right? Dumped on the Bucks. Year prior
Was
to
blue.
that, 2019 was
Before
blue.
that was green for the Eagles.
2018 was
Yep.
green for the Eagles. 2017 was the year of the no Gatorade.
That's right.
The
Yep.
none, which shocked and stunned us all. 2016 was orange with the Denver Broncos winning the Super Bowl. 2015 was back to blue. 2014, Sean, this is the one that's going to crush your hopes and dreams. Orange Gatorade dumped on the Seattle Seahawks, which are not an orange team.
Should have been blue.
Not an orange team, but it wasn't.
You're not making me want to
But it
change my
wasn't.
mind.
2013 was another bizarre year where there was no Gatorade free. 2012, purple Gatorade
Yeah.
dumped on your New York Giants, who were blue. 2011 and 2010 back to back, the Packers and the Saints. Neither team is orange, but orange Gatorade dumped on both.
What
of
I'm
them.
starting to think is that you and I put a lot more thought into the color of Gatorade than the person on the team who actually makes it and serves it. And my guess is there's just a flavor the players like.
Here's the weirdest thing of all, the weirdest stat of all. Between 2005 and 2008, those 4 Super Bowl champions all experienced the bizarre phenomenon known as clear Gatorade. Clear was the color dumped on the Patriots, the Steelers, the Colts, and the Giants the first time. Clear Gatorade.
Matt, would you like to know the top selling flavors of Gatorade?
It's probably red, which has never been dumped, as far as I know, in the modern era.
It's not red.
Red is not the top flavor.
It is not. No. Number 5, orange.
Lightning,
Number 4, Glacier Freeze, the light blue one.
which is light blue. Yep.
Number 3, lemon lime, the yellow one, the original. Number 2, red fruit punch, and number 1, cool blue. Number 1.
Yeah, but that's best selling. That's
But
not.
what I'm saying is, if you're
most
the
likely to be
equipment
dumped.
manager for the teams, and it's like, oh, the people like the blue one, I'm going to make the blue one. Oh, it's what we got in the back of
care
the truck
what they
today.
like.
I'm going to throw the blue powder in. I don't think anyone gives a shit on the teams. They're not like, what would color match best when we win the Super Bowl? Like, no, nobody.
Now, what would be interesting is if they had the. So I don't know if you were watching that Bills Patriots game where the Patriots got stuffed in Buffalo, and it was freezing cold. But what was in their Gatorade coolers was actually hot soup. Like hot
that's
broth.
right.
The players were like drinking like hot broth to warm up. Imagine dumping that on the winning coach.
Well, I was
Probably not going to happen in LA, but if the Super Bowl was in Buffalo,
I was just thinking
As
to
it should
myself,
be.
God, what a great story that would be if, like, because you have to imagine there's one person who chooses what color the Gatorade is. It's not like a committee chooses, it's just some guy. Well, why couldn't that guy put a whole bunch of money down on, like, black or some, like, insane color it would never be, and then, like, make it that color? I'm just saying, it seems like an easy scam.
well, the odds for the odds for purple are 1,000. to 1.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You can make some really good
The odds
money.
for orange and blue are pretty close. Orange is 200, blue is 300.
I think whoever it is should go put purple in there and make a nice paycheck, because whatever they're earning to be the Gatorade guy isn't enough. All right, well, a contentious pick, but one we'll have to see if we stand by. Again, I'm the only one to have ever won it, Matt, so this would be a big coup for you if you could get it. But now we got to move on to the conclusion of the game. Winner, final score, and MVP, Matt. Let's go with winner and final score right here. As previously mentioned, you have picked the correct winner every single time. It's an intense streak, one that continues on. Could continue on this year. We've talked about the teams. We've talked about the players. We've talked about the game. Matt, you get to go first on this one. Who is going to win the Super Bowl, and what will be the final score?
Well, Sean, I am not a scoring expert, as you can tell. I'm not really an expert in many or anything, some would say. But I do know about heart. And let me tell you about a little team called the Cincinnati Bengals. This is a team that has overcome heartbreak, adversity, and the slow march of time. This is a team built for a city that is longing for a championship and just has stuck with their team ever since 1988, the last time that they actually mattered in the whole grand scheme of things. Sean, I am going with the Cincinnati Bengals as a fellow fan of a team that has not won anything noteworthy since the Reagan administration.
What team is that?
When the Mets, they won the World Series back in 1986.
They were amazing.
I'm going with the Bengals. I'm going with Joey Burrows. I'm going with the team of heart, and I'm going to say the final score is going to be a lot closer than it appears, but I'm going to lock me in at 24-14.
Okay. Wow. Very, very confident in your pick there. You believe in the underdog.
I do, but I want to change my score right now. I'm not as confident as I appear. Very slightly. I want Matty Gay. I want Matty Gay to get a field goal. So I want to say that it's actually going to be 24-17.
Okay. Locked in. Matt, listen. I hate that you
want Matty Gay to get that field goal for Matt's everywhere.
Yes, a proud. Could you imagine Matt Stafford and Matt Gay standing up on the podium? Big day for Matt.
I want him to be MVP, but
I liked the
someday there will be a kicker MVP. You mark my words. Someday.
No. But the 49ers have a player named Dwan Jennings. Which I'm a big fan of. I was hoping he'd make it.
That's a lot closer to your name.
It's really because it's Jaun Jennings. Like it's very close. Matt, listen, I hate that you've won all these. I don't want you to win. I gotta break your streak. And the thing is, before you even picked a team, I knew what team I was picking. Why is that? Normally, I would have gone with the underdog team. I kind of hope the Bengals win. I like the story. I'm rooting for them. They seem like cool guys. They smoke the cigars, and they're young, and they're the rookies. It's great. Here's the thing. The Rams are going to fucking crush them, okay? And it's not even going to be close. And here's why. Rams are good. They're a good team. And not even their offense. Their defense. And they know exactly where the Bengals' weaknesses are on offense, and they're going to exploit the hell out of them. You don't get Von Miller and Aaron Donald on the same team and think you're going to be putting up big points. And so they are going to grossly limit what Joe Burrows can do. And I don't want this to happen. I want the Bengals to win. But I also want to win our stupid prop bet thing. So I am picking your Los Angeles Rams to win the Super Bowl. And I am going to do it with a final score of 38-24. No, I'm sorry, 38-27. That's what I'm going to. I got to give Matt Gay his kick in there.
So
38-27 is my pick. I don't think it's going to be that close. I'll even be more aggressive in my prediction. I think the Rams are going to come out and smother Joe Burrows. They're going to go up by like 20 points at some point in the game. Bengals will mount a late comeback. They're still going to fall short. That's my prediction from the game. I just put it this way, and I will say this about
Bengals they are a second half team.
They are,
yeah,
and it wouldn't surprise me if they mounted a comeback. But what I will say is, if Cincinnati wins this game, you cannot overrate them. It is not possible. If you think of the teams they beat to get this Super Bowl, literally, it's got to be one of the greatest stories in the history of the league.
Well, that's just it. Is you have to a certain degree, you have to believe that maybe they're a team of destiny.
Honestly,
right? You have to kind of think
it's absolutely insane. They people were thinking they were going to miss the playoffs in the middle of the season, and might win the Super Bowl. Yeah. And the Rams are good.
It happens.
The Rams are not an easy team.
Sometimes things just break the way that they break the way that they do, and teams go on a run, and they overcome what seem like incredible odds, and they do it. They just do it, right? Look at the 2019 Washington Nationals, right? Like they just broke the way that they did, and they made a run. Look at the 2018 Philadelphia Eagles, right?
Well, even the Bucks last year.
They won a wild card. Their wild card team didn't even win their division and made it all the way. Look at the Giants, both times that they won, right? Those are all just crapshoot teams that just somehow get it together at the right time, and things.
And by the way, playing in a deathly division, they had a lot of things break their way, but they're also a very good team. And look, whether or not they win the Super Bowl, they're going to be great next year. I mean, that's the exciting thing is Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, these guys. I mean, they're so dynamic, and I think if they can beef up that defense, they're going to be a team to really look out for. So I'm excited about that. I do think it's going to be a good game. Matt, we have to pick our MVPs of the game. One we pick. Either you've won. I've never won this one. Mainly because you always get to pick first, and you pick the really obvious one. So I'm going to go first, and I'm going to pick. Gosh, what do I think the odds are of different people winning the MVP? Obviously, the quarterbacks get kind of that incumbent advantage, where it's almost always the quarterbacks. I think the only non-quarterback players who could possibly win this would be Aaron Donald if he gets like a zillion sacks, like Von Miller did, although Peyton Manning was in much worse shape than Matt Stafford is. I think Cooper Kupp, if he has a big game, maybe. But then again, Stafford would have had to have thrown him the ball, so he's going to get credit for that. I think it's going to be one of the two quarterbacks, and I think if the Bengals win, it's got to be Burrow. But I think the Rams are going to win, so I'm going to go with a guy who I think is immensely talented and got to sit on a very shitty team for way too long and absolutely deserves to be a Super Bowl MVP, Matt Stafford. For Matt.
Yeah, and I'm going to apply the same logic, and I'm going to say that it goes to Burrow. Has to, right, if the Bengals win. So I said the Bengals are going to win, so I'm going to say that Burrow gets the MVP.
Yeah, I don't know if you'll ever see a receiver. Well, we did. We saw Julian Edelman win, right? But I think that was such a weird game.
But that's just because Brady had already won so much.
Well, and it was such a low-scoring game that...
It was a low-scoring game.
The quarterback has to throw those passes, so they're going to get the credit before the receivers do. So I think that makes the most sense.
Yeah. I think Burrows is really the guy. Burrows the guy that they all rallied around. You know, he's kind of the glue that really holds them all together, and him being an Ohio kid in that story,
snapping his ACL and coming back, the whole thing, it's great.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
Wonderful. Well, it should be a great game, Matt. I'm very excited. We're going to come back next week and talk about the game, talk about the results, reveal the winner, and discuss what we thought of the show, the halftime, the national anthem, the commercials, the whole 9 yards.
Should be fun.
Are you feeling confident? You think you're going to win this?
Yeah. I mean, I think either way, I think it's going to be an exciting and close game. And I think either way, I would be happy for Matt Stafford if he won. I mean, he escaped Detroit, and that's the main thing.
I was kind of hoping you were.
He escaped Detroit.
I was hoping you were going to say you were happy for me if I won. But.
And I would be happy for you.
I'm the Detroit Lions of this stupid prop bet thing.
It would take a lot of the pressure off me as the New England Patriots.
It's hard being so great.
League. It is. It's I get nervous every year now. I feel like I have like performance anxiety. Like I have to win because I have this streak going.
Well.
And if you snap it, then it's the no pressure anymore.
If I were the Bengals, man, I'd be feeling real good that Matt picked me. I'll tell you that. That's a good luck charm right there. That's awesome. Well, I'm going to tell you, I actually feel good. I look at everything I wrote, and I feel pretty good. So I'm excited. It's going to be a lot of fun. Hopefully everyone out there enjoys the big game and then comes back and enjoys next week's episode where we discuss the entire thing, our thoughts and opinions, talk about all the drama and all the excitement, and talk about how the contest went. So we're done here, I believe. We're wrapped up. But always a treat. Super Bowl 56, going to be a fun one. Make sure you subscribe wherever you get podcasts so you get next week's episode as well. And we're going to wrap it up here. So on behalf of Matt, I'm Sean. We appreciate you being here as always, and we'll see you next week for an even superer edition of Up for Debate.